Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Vernon, and I am a social work intern at the Tallahassee Senior Center. Today, I'm going to be giving a presentation on home safety. And the purpose of this presentation is really just to provide some resources and information so that you all have the knowledge and ability to make decisions to ensure that you're safe in your home. There are four main topics we're going to go over today. The first being gas leaks, then fire safety, home safety and scam prevention, and then finally fall prevention. So we're going to start off with gas leaks, and gas leaks are really important to know about because not many people have the knowledge to detect gas leaks. They may not know what to do in the case of a gas leak, and gas leaks can be dangerous. They are highly flammable and they can be dangerous to the body. So we'll start off talking about the gas leak signs. The most obvious and common sign of a gas leak is the smell. Gas companies will put a bit of a substance into the gas so that when it leaks, it gives off this sulfury rotten egg smell. So it's really unpleasant, making it really easily to detect. The next sign is the sound, and this one is a little less easy to detect because the sound can be very quiet or could be coming from an area of the house that you're not in. But gas leaks will often emit a blowing or hissing noise. Then there are some physical things that you can actually see that might signal you to a gas leak. And one of those is dead or discolored vegetation. So if you have a houseplant that has started to wilt away or maybe change color, the soil around it is kind of dry and hard, and it's happened quickly and without really any explanation, that could be a sign of a gas leak. And then also, if you have any wet or flooded areas and you notice continuous bubbling, that can just be a reaction of the gas and the water. There's also flames. If you notice a flame, that could be a sign that your gas leak has ignited. And then oftentimes, gas leaks will blow up some dust from a hole in the ground. So if you see like a white dust cloud, that's another sign. So what to do if you suspect a gas leak in your home? First of all, you want to leave the building. As I've mentioned before, gas leaks can be a source of fire. It's also harmful to the body because if you're breathing in that gas, you're not breathing in as much oxygen, and that's not good for you. So you want to leave the building. And then once you do, you want to call either your utility company's emergency number or 911. Either one will work. Either one will send somebody out to fix the leak and to ensure that your home is safe to re-enter. But I included Tallahassee utility emergency number in the PowerPoint. And then there are also some things that you do not want to do. And one of those is turn on any electrical switches, appliances, or lights. And then also make calls from inside the building. And these two are on there because doing these actions can cause an electrical current that could ignite the gas leak and cause a fire. So it's really important to remember that when you're making your call to your utility company or to 911, that you are outside the home and a good distance away. You also don't want to make smoke or make flame. And the reason being, of course, that the gas leak is flammable and can cause a home fire. And then lastly, don't try and attempt to repair the leak. It's best to just leave that up to the professionals so that everyone remains safe. So now we're going to talk a little bit about fire safety. And here are some fire safety tips, just some information that you want to remember to help you prevent fires. First, you want to change the batteries in your smoke detectors. It's a really good idea to change the batteries every 6 months. So maybe set yourself a reminder. Or one little trick that I do is every time the time changes, so whether we're falling backwards or springing forward for daylight savings, that can be a little reminder that you need to change your batteries. And it's also a good idea to do a little test run of your smoke detector every month or so, just turn it on, see if it works, make sure everything is right. A certain type of smoke detector that you can use is a flashing light smoke detector. And this is really great for those who may be hearing impaired, because along with the noise of a smoke detector, it also gives off a flashing light. So for any reason that you can't hear the noise of the detector, or you don't recognize the noise as being the smoke detector, you will also see a flashing light that will signal you that there's a fire. And then the Tallahassee Fire Department has a smoke alarm program. And this is where they send firefighters out to your home, and they will repair or replace any smoke detectors in your home. And while they're there, they'll also do a little run through and make sure that you don't have any fire hazards. And this is a program that's completely free to seniors. And so I've included the link for more information there. And it's a great resource that I encourage people to take advantage of. Next, you want to check your electrical cords. You don't want to be using cords that are frayed or have wires exposed, because those can spark and cause a fire. And additionally, you don't want to plug too many devices into one outlet. You don't want to overdo the circuit. Next, you want to be careful of candles and space heaters. This is just being mindful. If you light a candle or you turn on a space heater, be mindful of it and remember to turn it back off when you leave the room. With space heaters, you can actually purchase space heaters that have an automatic shutoff. So if you accidentally knock your space heater down, or if you have a pet running around and it knocks the space heater down, it will shut off automatically. And similarly, you can buy space heaters with automatic timers. So you can set your timer for an hour, and after that hour, the space heater will automatically turn off. And that's really great if you fall asleep while the space heater's on, or if you leave the room, you won't have to worry about it because it will turn itself off. Next is you want to have a planned escape route. And this is just you and the other people in your house coming up with a plan of how you would get out of the house in case of a fire. And your escape route should be something that's easy to get to, easily accessible, quick, and make sure everyone in the house knows of this plan. It's a really good idea to maybe draw it out on a piece of paper and stick it on your fridge so people are aware. Next, you want to check the oven and stove top after cooking. This is a hard one. I think a lot of people are guilty of doing this. I know I am. After you finish cooking, you're so excited to eat that you forget to turn the oven off. But it's really important to be mindful of that. And if you need to, you can always put a little sticky note above your oven that says turn off to remind yourself. And then kind of piggybacking off of that, you don't want to cook if you're sleepy or on medication that makes you drowsy. And that's just a general safety practice, because if you're sleepy or drowsy, you're more likely to make mistakes and either hurt yourself or cause a fire. So if you're sleepy or drowsy, it might just be best to eat leftovers that night or have something that's in your pantry. And here's a nice little graphic that just kind of goes over the things I talked about visually. So monitor your space heaters, maintain smoke alarms, caution with electricity, cook with care. And then here's one I didn't talk about, clean vent fan. That's important. And then also remembering to clean out the lint in your dryers. Those can both spark and cause a flame. So now what to do if there is a fire? You want to get out fast. Do not stop and collect valuables, and do not go back inside the home. This can be hard because we all have mementos that we hold dear to us, but the most important thing is the safety of you and anyone else in your home. So get out and don't go back in. Next, feel for heat on doorknobs and door cracks. And this is important if you don't know where the fire is. For example, if you wake up in the middle of the night to the fire alarm going off, you don't know where it is. You're laying in your bed in the dark. So when you have to escape and go through the house, it's a good idea to put your hand up against the doorknob or the door crack. And if you feel heat, that means there's a fire on the other side of the door. and you need to find another way out. Next, if you go through smoke, try and stay low. The smoke is hot air, so it will rise to the top of the house. So if you bend down as low as you can, you should be able to miss most of the smoke. And that's really important because breathing in smoke is very damaging to the body. And then finally, of course, call 911 as soon as you can so that you can get the fire department there to put out the fire, and then also EMS to make sure that you and anyone else in your home is safe. So now we're going to talk a little bit about home safety and scam prevention. So first, we're going to talk about strangers at the door. What to do if someone shows up at your door that you don't know and you don't really know why they're there. If you have a peephole, utilize it. If you hear a knock at the door, especially if you're home alone, just look to the peephole and see who it is. You do not have to open the door to strangers. If you don't feel comfortable opening the door, leave your door closed. You can always ask the person through the door who they are. You want to keep your doors and your windows locked. That's just a good safety practice to make sure anyone who is not welcome in your house can't get in. Next, beware of scammers. Unfortunately, there are people who will show up to your house and try to scam you, and a lot of times they try to target seniors. So be aware of that. A lot of the common ones are people dressing up as cable company workers or utility people. So if someone shows up at your door dressed up in a utility outfit, says they're here to fix your water, and you don't know why they're here, you don't remember being told, you don't have to let them in. You can call your utility company and actually verify it, because people shouldn't be coming to your door to fix stuff without you knowing about it. And then finally, if someone really refuses to leave your house after you've asked them multiple times, you can definitely call the police, and the police will come down and talk to these people. So now phone scams. I'm sure we have all received annoying robocalls or telemarket calls. They're disruptive and annoying, but they can also be convincing sometimes, and people do get scammed. So you can actually sign up for do not call lists, and this will take you off the registry of all the telemarket companies. So you won't even receive a lot of these phone calls anymore. And there's the link right there to sign up. And then you also never want to give out your credit card, banking, Social Security, Medicare, or other personal information over the phone, especially if you can't verify who it is. For example, if you get a call from a number that you don't recognize, claiming to be your bank, and they're asking you for all of your banking information, that is definitely something that you do not want to give out if you can't verify. Next, if you think you're a victim of a scam, you can call your bank or credit card company and tell them why you think you're a victim, give them the situation, and they'll tell you the next steps that you need to take. And one of those steps is probably going to be cancel any debit or credit cards associated with the account, so that if the person who scammed you has this information, you won't be responsible for any of the charges that they put to your account. And then also you want to reset your personal identification numbers and passwords. And this is so they don't have access to your personal information. And just like phone scams, there's also email scams. And one thing to remember is to not open documents from unknown email addresses. Those documents will oftentimes contain viruses and allow hackers to get into your account and steal your information. A good thing to remember is to check for odd email addresses. An email claiming to be Verizon should not be coming from an email address such as jane222@hotmail.com. A lot of major companies and agencies will have email addresses that associate with their company. For example, a lot of the staff at the Tallahassee Senior Center are city employees, and so their email address ends with @talgov.com for Tallahassee government. And this is the same for a lot of agencies and major companies. Some other common scams include IRS, people claiming to be the IRS saying either you owe money or you have a refund, fake tech companies, Medicare and Medicaid, lottery. You might get an email that says you won the lottery, click here to claim your prize. That is almost 100% a scam. And then next, bogus charities. Unfortunately, there are people who will pose as a charitable organization and convince people to donate to them, to donate to whatever cause they are. And that's just sad because they're preying on people's compassion. So just be aware of that. Now we're going to go into fall prevention. And this is probably the #1 concern for seniors in the home. So right here is why you see why fall prevention is so important to talk about. In 2018, there were 36 million falls for older adults and 8 million injuries. And this number is only expected to rise. By 2030, there's expected 52 million falls and 12 million injuries. Then over here, it says 1 in 4 older adults will fall this year. And so that's a very high percentage. And this graphic is created by the CDC, and it says to keep older adults steady by screening for fall risk. And STEADY is just an acronym they created to help primary care physicians screen older adults for falling. So next time you go to the doctor, it might be a good idea to ask them to screen you for a fall. Ask them what makes you at risk and how you can improve upon that to lower your risk of falling. And then this over here is, of course, why it's included in this home safety presentation, because 60% of falls happen inside the home. So here are the major causes of falls. The first being poor eyesight and hearing. And this just makes it difficult to be aware of hazards, trip hazards that are in the area. Next is medication. This could either be a medicine that's not working properly or a medication that has some negative side effects such as drowsiness or blurry vision. Next is weakness and poor balance. This might be the #1 cause because as we grow older, we get weaker and our balance is poor. So it's really important to stay active to combat that. Next is environmental hazards. And this is anything in their environment that is the cause of the fall. So for example, if it was really cold one night and your front stairs freeze over and it's icy and it's slippery, so you fall, that's an environmental hazard. And then next is a behavioral hazard. And these are actions that you do that increase your risk of falling. So for example, if you're someone who knows that they have poor balance, but you get up on a ladder and try to clean your gutters, that's an action that's putting you at risk for falling. That's a behavioral hazard. And so here are some things that you personally can do to prevent falling. The first is stay active. As I said, weakness and poor balance is a major cause of falling and a major cause of the injuries associated with falling. So it's really important to stay active, try and maintain our balance and our strength. And this is especially important right now during COVID. While most of us are at home, we may not be able to go to the exercise classes or go to the gym like we used to. So trying to stay active at home could be just going for a walk around. Next, you want to have your vision checked regularly. You want to make sure that the prescription you have for your glasses is right. And if you don't have a prescription for glasses, there may come a point where you do. So having your vision checked regularly is really important to maintain your safety. Next, you want to review your medications frequently. You want to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to and they're not having any negative consequences. Next, you can wear non-skid shoes inside. And this can just help with traction and stability inside. It just makes you more stable and less likely to fall. You can also have a home safety assessment. And this is where a home safety professional will come out to your house and go through all of your rooms and just look for hazards and offer solutions to those hazards to make your home as safe as possible for your ability and accessibility. And a lot of these assessments do cost money, but there are a ton of online resources available for free so that you are able to kind of do like a self-assessment, do it on your own. And I'm going to provide some resources for that later on in the PowerPoint. And next, you just want to be mindful of your pets, especially the little ones. They may run around you and you don't even realize, and you turn around and you trip on them. So just keeping an eye on your pets, knowing where they are. Maybe if there's an area of the house where you have a little difficulty in, maybe just keeping your pets out of there so you get rid of that risk altogether. And so I wanted to provide you with the Senior Center fitness classes, which are happening virtually right now because of COVID. But like I mentioned, staying active is so important and so essential in preventing falls and maintaining your safety. So we have two options right now. The Tallahassee Senior Center fitness classes on WCOT, the local Tallahassee news channel, which is channel 13, or you can go to talgov.com/WCOT. And so here are the classes that are available, and the schedule is available right here on the link. And then we also have on-demand classes, which are available on YouTube and are shared periodically on the Tallahassee Senior Center Facebook page. And so these classes you can do whenever you have the time to. And there's also a schedule available at the bottom. So some small and low cost safety tips. These are just some things, some modifications that you can make that will improve the safety of your home. So first, you want to clear walking pathways. You want to do this both inside and outside. Make sure your hallways, that there's no clutter, that they're wide enough to get through. Outside, make sure there aren't any sticks or rocks or roots that you can trip over as you walk to the mailbox or as you take a walk outside. Make sure your walking paths are clear and stable and safe. Next, you want to install adequate lighting. And lighting can be negative on both spectrums. It can be too dim or it could be too bright. Both of these can affect your vision and affect your ability to stay safe. So making sure that the lighting that you have is natural, easy on the eyes, and allows you to see as best as you can. Next, you want to secure or remove throw rugs. Throw rugs are a really big trip hazard because it's easy just to slip on them, to get under them. So either get some sticky or Velcro strips to secure your rugs or get rid of them completely. Next, it's a good idea to install a waterproof shower seat. So if you're in the shower and you feel like you might lose your balance or you just get a little tired, you can take a seat and then get back up when you need to. So that's a really great tip. Next, replace standard doorknobs. The normal circular doorknobs are easy to flip on and they don't provide a lot of support. So in the next slide, I'll show you an example of a doorknob that you can replace it with. And then you want to use rubber-backed bath mats. You want to have a bath mat so you don't get water all over the floor and make it slippery, but you also want to make sure that the bath mat is secure and doesn't slip away. So using the rubber bath mats will secure the bath mat. So here's an example of a shower seat. And here are the doorknobs I was talking about. These ones add a little bit more stability, something to hold on to and support you. And then there is an example of a rubber-backed bath mat. And then here are some larger home safety modifications. These ones are a little more long-term, usually cost a little bit more money. One of them is to create zero threshold entryways. And this is just where, as you move from room to room or from inside to outside, it's flat. There isn't any lift you have to go over, any dip. Just make sure it goes straight through so there isn't anything to trip on. Next, widen doors and hallways. This is important if you are in a wheelchair or use some sort of walking device. It just gives you more space, gives you less ability to fall. Next is the altar showers. A lot of showers have a bathtub in them as well, which is nice, except that every time you get into the shower, you have to step over into the shower, and that can be very difficult. So if you get a shower like the one in this picture, where you just open the door and there's a shower seat inside, that is really helpful, and it lowers the risk of falling. And so here are some resources for a lot of the topics that we discussed today. So the AARP Home Safety Checklist, that's an example of one of those resources that you can use to kind of do your own home safety assessment. Accessibility Solutions, now that is a company that will come out and do a home safety assessment and provide you with some solutions or some suggestions for making your home safer. We have the Tallahassee Fire Prevention, the Do Not Call list I mentioned earlier. And then the Lifetime Home, that is a really great resource that I want to point out. It can also be used to kind of do like a self-assessment for your home. And you can go through every room in your house, your kitchen, your bedroom, your living room, and it'll give you a list of common hazards and solutions to those hazards. And next is the Tallahassee Senior Center and Home Safety Resource Card. And so the Senior Center has resource cards, a variety of them, and we have a home safety one, and that goes over a lot of the information I just talked about. And I can pull that up. Just give me 1 second. So here's what it looks like as the Tallahassee Police Department, crime prevention units, fire prevention, emergency services, has the gas leak information I went over, and then it has a good list of fall prevention resources, some fall prevention tips, and then this is a more extensive list of home modification companies and accessibility companies, and then also medical alert systems. And then we also have some other in-home services. So make sure you check that out. That's on the Tallahassee Senior Center Foundation website under resources. And then if you have any more questions, feel free to contact us. We are not open to the public as of right now, but feel free to call us or visit any of our websites. We have two, the Senior Foundation and then the TalGov Senior Services website. Feel free to reach out, and I hope you learned something with this presentation and enjoyed it. And reach out if you need anything.